this video, we'll be discussing motivation and its importance in life. This video is adapted from the written story on imaginated.com, which you can find in the description box down below. With that being said, let's dive in. So what is motivation? Motivation is the driving force for our actions, our willingness, and our desire to accomplish goals. The driving force can be extrinsic or intrinsic. In other words, from outside forces or from within. It is that inner voice in your head and drive that keeps you getting up in the morning. But as we'll discuss later in this guide, sometimes we lose that inner voice and drive. We'll touch on some reasons why it is lost later. What keeps people motivated? When it comes to motivation, as mentioned, there are two driving forces, one from outside forces and one from within. Extrinsic motivation is an outside motivational force. It is often referred to as a drive that is driven by external rewards. The rewards can be tangible, such as money, material possessions, grades, etc., and can also be intangible, such as fame, praise, or anything of the sorts. Intrinsic motivation is an inside motivational force. It is often referred to as a drive that is driven without any obvious external rewards. Intrinsic motivation brings internal satisfaction, and you want to perform the act because it's enjoyable and interesting to you, rather than feeling a pressure to do it because of an outside pressure or incentive such as a reward or deadline. Intrinsic motivation leads to feelings of fulfillment and engagement. And opposed to extrinsic motivation, intrinsic motivation can lead to less chance of feeling burnt out. Why is motivation important? There are many positive effects of motivation that makes it very important in life. Let's dive into some positive effects. The first reason motivation is important is because it helps clarify a goal. When you're motivated, you have a desire to achieve something, whether for extrinsic or intrinsic reasons. Motivation can help you gain clarity on a goal and see the necessary steps you need to take in order to achieve it. Where there's a will, there's a way. The second reason motivation is important is because it sets priorities in life. Have a goal to reach a certain weight, or have a goal to write a book? By having motivation to accomplish these goals, it will help you focus on committing to that goal, often requiring sacrifices, whether it be social or time. The third reason motivation is important is because it teaches perseverance and determination. If you are motivated to accomplish a goal, truly motivated, you won't let anything stand between you and your goal. That means failures will not be seen as negative, but rather as learning moments. Get knocked down once, but get up twice. The fourth reason motivation is important is because you will be able to push through setbacks. As mentioned in our last reason, there will be setbacks on your path to your goal. Motivation will help you push through those setbacks, failures, and fears. The fifth reason motivation is important is because it will help you fight against fear. Setting on the path to do something new can be scary. It is the unknown, the what if it doesn't work out, that scares us the most. Motivation helps fight against this fear because it pushes you to do it anyways, to act courageous. Of course, make sure what you are set out to accomplish has already been backed by thoughtful planning and ideation. For example, if you've never ran in your life and you're trying to run a 4-minute mile, motivation won't help you run it, but motivation will help you train to eventually get there one day. But no need to fear. As long as you view failures only as learning points and not something negative, you'll be good. The sixth reason motivation is important in life is because it builds self-confidence. The ideas we were discussing earlier, such as failures and pushing through setbacks, applies here. Once you push through a setback or get out of your comfort zone, only to realize that it isn't so bad, this will build your self-confidence and ability to keep pushing forward. The seventh reason motivation is important is because it inspires others. Why do you think motivational speakers are so important? Some of the best motivational speakers are living proof that if you just stay motivated, keep learning, and keep getting up after you've been knocked down, that you will rise and succeed. If you motivate yourself, you will often motivate others through your actions and ability to stay confident, to push through setbacks, and to stay on your path despite the fears and unknowns. What can decrease motivation? Motivation is great when we have it, but sometimes we just lose that drive, whether it be extrinsic or intrinsic. We may start feeling lost or in a severe situation, even depressed. So how do we get something back that is so important as humans, our motivation, our drive, our sense of purpose. Let's dive into some things that can cause a lack of motivation. The first factor when it comes to a lack of motivation is from not knowing what we want. This could be due to a lack of planning or introspection. Sometimes we get so caught up in the daily grind and routine. Waking up, going to work, coming home, eating dinner, watching TV, etc. for days on end. You can get so caught up in the routine that when you take a step back and think, wait, what do I want from life? It can throw you in a tailspin. What is the end goal? Is the end goal even what you want? Is it the journey that you find joy in and not necessarily the destination? If you were to ask yourself right now what is the end goal you are after and think about what it would look like if everything were to go exactly to plan, do you have an answer? Is it working hard to get a promotion? Is it to make more money and buy a house? Is it to make enough money to have freedom to spend more time with your family? If you don't have an answer to this question and thought, then take some time to think about it. It's hard to know the end destination if you don't even know where you want to go. The second factor when it comes to a lack of motivation is from your self-identity and self-talk. The mind listens to what we tell it. Have you said to yourself these following statements before? I'm so stupid. I'm so dumb. I'm an idiot. I can't believe I just did that. This is an example of negative self-talk, especially if you aren't saying it in a joking manner. If you make a mistake, it's not that you are stupid, you just did something stupid. Don't identify as stupid or any other negative connotation, and identify the singular action or occurrence as that negative connotation. The same applies when thinking about motivation. Don't self-identify as a person who has a lack of motivation, or your mind will listen. Instead, if you are feeling an off day, recognize that today you might just be tired or sleepy, and not necessarily unmotivated. If you even think that you are an unmotivated person, just think how far you have come in your life. Everything you did, whether it was going to school, getting a job, making friends, being good at a hobby, etc., is from you being motivated. The third factor when it comes to a lack of motivation is from not aiming high enough. You do not want to put a limit on what you can accomplish, because this will limit what you are willing to do. If we set a goal in our head, we will start to take the necessary actions and steps to accomplish that goal if we know it or not. So why not set a big stretch goal in our head? For example, if you're in sales, want to close 10 leads a month? Why not 50 leads a month? Your mind will start to figure out ways to make closing the 50 leads a reality, which will push you in ways that will allow you to uncover new potential and creative ideas. The fourth factor when it comes to a lack of motivation is from trying to tackle too much at once. If you have too many spinning plates that you're trying to balance, you may keep them all spinning for a while, but eventually one might fall. And when that one falls, it draws your attention away from the other plates, and then all plates will start to fall. When you feel overwhelmed and are trying to tackle too much at once, instead of feeling like you are making progress, you may feel like you are doing a lot but nothing is getting done, and then you will eventually just disassociate from the situation altogether. Instead of this, try to set one or a few goals at a time, and set mini goals for those goals. Once you hit each mini goal, you will get a dopamine hit and feel a sense of an accomplishment that will continue to give you motivation for the bigger goal. The fifth factor when it comes to a lack of motivation is trying to wait for motivation. Motivation may come and go. If you watch an inspiring movie, you may be motivated for a day. If you see a nice car on the street that you want, you may be motivated for a couple days. Don't wait for motivation. It's human nature that some days you will be more motivated than others. What you want to be is consistent. Is your goal to write a book? You may be motivated some days to write, but what about on that day where you're just feeling less motivated? It's especially on those days that you stay consistent and still write a certain number of pages. Focus on consistency and don't wait for high motivational days. Motivation has played an important role throughout the time span of human existence. Motivation has led to incredible feats being accomplished, as well as horrific tragedies being committed. Motivation is the underlying driver of existence, and without motivation, we wouldn't be where we are today as a civilization. It keeps us on the pursuit of something greater than ourselves. In conclusion, we hope you enjoyed this guide on the importance of motivation in life. Now we'd love to hear from you. What motivates you, or is there a reason why motivation is important that you think we left out? Either way, let us know by leaving a comment down below. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, your heart is a sun, and it shines as it opens. Where your heart
is the sun, and it shines, says it opens